100%, 100%. And another player skillful at speed, but has also, in a similar way, been forced out of a football club due to things going on behind the scenes. The last thing that we want to cover off today is Felipe Coutinho, who has ended up at Aston Villa. Before we started, you described it as a football manager-esque signing. I'm inclined to agree. Talk to me about what this means for his career, right? Because since his big move to Barcelona, it's never really happened for him uh, in Catalonia, and he had a brief loan spell to Bayern Munich where his most famous moment was knocking Barcelona out of the Champions League. Will he be a success at Aston Villa, and can he fit into this project that Steven Gerrard's trying to build?
Coutinho is an interesting player because he's sort of another era. He doesn't really have a lot of aerobic capacity. So even though it was a loss for Liverpool at the time and he was playing really well for them, they actually peaked after his departure because Klopp decided that the midfield was no longer a place for creative players. And he ended up outsourcing the creativity to his front three and his fullbacks. And the centre of midfield was a place for engines. And I think you've seen that with trying to incorporate Thiago, is he hasn't always been a seamless fit because Liverpool's midfield players are just runners. They just, they just press the other team into oblivion and feast on second balls and get into the box. So Coutinho didn't fit that mindset. And when he went to Barcelona, it was at a time where he was trying to replace Neymar. And then they're very different. Yes, they both play on the left and they like to cut in, but that's where the similarities end. Coutinho is a player of tight spaces, and Neymar was a guy, at least in his Barcelona days, was a guy who liked to stretch the pitch and run it, have the ball switched to him or played in behind to him and then cause havoc on the run. So Coutinho didn't quite fit the mold of what Barcelona needed, and they're already on a downward trend, and they spent way too much money on him. Like, the transfer fee is ridiculous, and that was, that actually was an albatross around his neck, unlike Ed Woodward at Manchester United. But Coutinho has become a symbol of Barcelona's failure through circumstances sometimes beyond his control. Yes, the performances haven't matched up with the transfer fee, but he didn't decide what his transfer fee was. Barcelona did. And also, in a way, Nike did, because it was before a World Cup and Nike wanted a Brazilian at Barcelona. So that was one of the reasons why that transfer happened at the time. I remember reading. It was a bit weird. So,
Crazy.
I think it's really weird that he's going to Aston Villa, but it's also a demonstration of just how financially superior the Premier League is at the moment. Sort of terrifying evidence of that. The rest of Europe kind of cows to Premier League's financial supremacy in the wake of COVID. Coutinho shouldn't be at Aston Villa, but he is. And maybe he'll be the spiritual successor to Jack Grealish in that left-hand side role. I'm not sure where Emi Buendia fits in now, but it's clearly a coup for Villa to sign a player of his reputation and his skill set. And it's only a loan deal, so if it doesn't work out, there's not a lot of risk involved. I think it's a good signing for Aston Villa, but it's a bit of a weird destination for Coutinho to end up, and sort of sums up his career trajectory since his move.
And do you think that this is a good opportunity for him to save his career in a sense? Because, put in a good six months at Aston Villa and suddenly you can be the talk of the town again.
Yeah, I think so. His wages have become an issue, much in the same way as Bale's at Real Madrid. Once you have a player on the outs who is on big money, it becomes very, very difficult to shift them. So if his salary expectations are lowered somewhat and he just wants to play, he's got any number of possibilities across Europe where he could end up. But if he only will accept super club wages, that will limit his role in his playing time. I don't quite see where he fits in at the top of European football at the moment, just because he's not much of a... his lungs are too small. He does 3 sprints and he's tired. He's a little waif of a guy. But he's a magician when he gets the ball. So I'm really pleased to be able to watch him again on a regular basis, because he's a fun player to watch when he gets it. And I think there needs to be still room in modern football for creative players who aren't, who don't have iron lungs.